Hi, I'm Realtor Bert Taddei. Welcome to another edition of Sipping Coffee or Tea with Realtor Bert Taddei. This is an educational video series where we try to sift and sort through the hype, the hoopla, and even the media negativity about the real estate industry. So we're going to have a nice set of videos that are centered around the topic of market trends. Very important to follow real estate market trends. Why? Because it's going to drive a lot of different factors. Number one, supply and demand, right? Simple economics. But the other thing is that those market trends are also going to tell us what they're doing in terms of how can we can negotiate the best deal for our clients, right? And we feel that by staying informed about these market trends and understanding their implications, we believe that realtors like myself, of course, can make better, wiser decisions in our business and how we counsel our clients and better advise our clients, right? To help them make strategic decisions and, of course, maneuver through the dynamic real estate landscape. So, with that in mind, we have 4 videos in this series about real estate market trends. The first one is going to be about current market conditions and trends. The second video will be about analyzing local market data. So it's going to be a little bit more granular right here to the San Antonio, Texas level. And the third one will be forecasting future market trends. And the last one is, of course, the impact of economic factors on market trends. So let's get right to it. And let's talk a little bit more about the current market conditions and trends. Number one, we'll talk about supply and demand dynamics, right? So, in a low inventory environment, you can expect to see higher prices, right? Because there's a shortage of available homes for sale, leading to increased competition by buyers. And of course, when the opposite is true, which is a little bit more like what we're seeing currently here in the San Antonio market, there's higher inventory, so it's going to be a lot less competition, and of course, it becomes a little bit more favorable for buyers, right, to negotiate those deals with the sellers. And of course, in a high demand environment, there's going to be, it's usually driven by low interest rates, kind of similar to what we saw, 2-3 years ago, during the pandemic. We saw really high demands, low a shortage of inventory, so they're higher prices, and we saw anywhere between 20 to 35% appreciation in home value. So you want to talk about homes going up in price, just like everything else that we're seeing in this inflationary environment. Well, sure, we saw the house prices, house values, and prices increase significantly. Particularly because there was a demand for housing. It remained strong, particularly in suburban and even urban areas, right? However, now that we've seen kind of a shift in the marketplace, because we're always going to go through those peaks and valleys, ebbs and flows, and highs and lows in real estate markets, right? There's a little bit more of a correction going on, right? So again, there's higher inventory and lower demand because of the interest rates being higher, right? That's what drove that lower demand. So, 2 is price appreciation. I kind of touched on it just briefly, right? Home prices have been steadily rising, due to what we saw with the higher demand and the limited supply. However, now that our market has seen that double-digit growth in price appreciation that we talked about, we're starting to see things kind of level off. And there was a recent an article that just came out recently about Florida and Texas real estate now basically not moving. Not that it's not as hot as it used to be. No, it's become frankly quite stagnant, and we've seen a major market correction in our 2 states in particular. Be sure to check out another one of my videos here. Either, I don't know what platform you're watching it on, but certainly my YouTube channel, Bert Sells San Antonio Real Estate, should have a little bit more information about that, because I did go over that particular topic. and it kind of gave a synopsis of that article about that real estate trend in Texas and Florida in particular. So interest rates, right? And so we talked about that, right? We're in a high interest rate environment, we're going to see a lot less demand, right? Because housing becomes that much less attainable, because most of what we do in this country is driven by our monthly payments, and unfortunately, those monthly payments have increased significantly, and so now there's a lot less demand for housing. So this low mortgage rates are going to make borrowing a lot cheaper and more affordable, and it's going to encourage people to buy homes. But the Fed said, when was it? 2 years ago, when they started raising rates, they said, you know what? Now is not a good time to buy a house. And to make sure that they put an exclamation point at the end of that sentence, they raised rates. Not mortgage rates, granted, but they raised the overnight funds rate, right? And by doing so, everything else kind of fell in line, right? It's lockstep. So rates are driven by a lot of different things, but not the least of which are the 10-year Treasury bond yields, which is also in lockstep with what we're talking about here, and the moves that the Fed makes. So they didn't want for people to buy a house anymore. They were trying to get housing to come down in value just a little bit. And who knows, maybe we're going to see that just a tad bit. We're already starting to see price drops, certainly, a lot of price adjustments on homes that are currently on the market, right? So affordability just might come next. Who knows? Maybe. If those home values continue to come down. The only issue with that is, of course, the high interest rate environment. Now, what we're doing here with our group is Santino Properties LLC, is we're helping a lot of our buyers afford more house, even in this environment. You don't have to just because the rates are at 6.5-7% doesn't mean that you have to pay that. So if you have any questions about how we're getting our clients into more affordable interest rate homes, be sure to reach out to me for more information about that. Very, very interesting. Nobody's doing it in San Antonio, folks. So we can answer any questions around that. Just let me know. This is an educational video, so we're not going to make this a sales pitch. Okay, so number 4 is buyer preferences, right? So we had supply and demand dynamics, price appreciation, interest rates, and now it's buyer preferences. There is a growing preference in homes for more space, home offices, outdoor areas. Outdoor living has become super, super popular. That's another trend that we're seeing, and a lot of this is really due to the remote work trends, right? The working from home lifestyles, and that has also driven a different type of demand, right, for housing, right? Housing that does provide that extra space. It offers that extra space for an office, the outdoor living space, swimming pools. Now, they're not for everybody, but some people prefer a pool. So the sustainability and energy efficiency are also becoming super important to buyers. There's a lot of smart house apps and so forth from your phone. You can check the temperature of the house from your phone. If you're at work and you want to see what your thermostat is set at, you can certainly do that remotely now on your phone. I was running Airbnbs kind of remotely from as a absentee owner, and I was constantly checking the levels of the air conditioning in the mini splits in my units, and could adjust them accordingly if I thought that the guests were kind of keeping those temperatures a little too low. Would just because they're not always there, right? Especially when they were vacant, for a couple days, right? You can adjust that temperature remotely. So there's a lot of really terrific tools around smart homes and things that you can do with your phone now, in terms of thermostat settings and so forth. And the 5th and last one is the technological integration, And again, this is more for the sale side, right? So when you're purchasing a home, there's virtual tours for online listings. Of course, we've been doing digital transactions for some time now, in terms of DocuSign. I use AuthentiSign, Dotloop, things of that nature, and of course digital transactions have become a lot more prevalent, enhancing the buying and selling process. So hopefully this first video has been interesting for you. Of course, we're talking about real estate market trends, and this first video surrounded the topic of current market conditions and trends, and I gave you 5 points here to consider. So hopefully this educational video has been interesting for you. Leave me a comment below or above or wherever it is you can leave a comment, or whatever platform you're watching this on. Maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's Instagram. I'm not even sure where you're watching this. Whatever platform that is, be sure to leave me a comment below and tell me about some topics that you would like to see. Maybe some energy efficient kind of tips and things of that nature that come to mind. But certainly leave me ideas for other topics that we can discuss on other educational videos, because we do this as a free resource to the public. We always want to connect with our audience in a meaningful and relevant manner, right? So we can have a good discussion. So this has been the educational video series, another video in that series called Sipping Coffee or Tea with Realtor Bert Taddei. I'm Bert Taddei, real estate owner and broker of my firm, Santino Properties LLC. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Leave me a comment.